Hello, everybody. I hope that you are well, and whatever you are doing, you are having a most wonderful evening. I am making a little interesting live stream here because my car got some mail. Let's have a look. This is my sarcastic way of dealing with the ongoing situation that we find ourselves in right now. But look, this says important safety recall notice, and I know some of you will be curious to know what's in the official important safety recall. Important safety recall. Dear Nicola Gordon-Bloomfield, this notice applies to your vehicle. And then they give the VIN number, which I'm not going to read out. Dated August 2021. This notice is sent to you in accordance with the National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act. Very important. General Motors had decided that a defect which relates to motor vehicle safety exists in certain 2017 model year Chevrolet Bolt EV vehicles. Now, this is interesting because it doesn't say 2017 through 2019 through 2022. It just says 2017. As a result, GM is conducting a safety recall. We apologize for this inconvenience. However, we are concerned about your safety and continued satisfaction with our products. Your vehicle is involved in a new GM safety recall N212343880. Hello, everybody, by the way. I'm reading out an important safety recall notice on air. Why is your vehicle being recalled? Certain vehicles are built with high voltage cells produced at LG Chem's Okshan Korea facility that pose a risk of fire when charged to full or very close to full capacity. Experts from GM and LG have identified the simultaneous presence of two manufacturing defects in the same battery cell as the root cause of the battery fires. Now, this is interesting because this is Station 240 says it's more like a holiday voucher from the car's point of view. Are you going on your holidays? Parts to your vehicle are not currently available, but when parts are available, your Chevrolet dealer will replace the lithium-ion battery modules in your vehicle with new lithium-ion battery modules. This service will be performed for you at no charge. Yeah. Anonymous Freak says, my early production Arkimoto has gotten quite a few recalls. Ironically, they've had to send out the same one out multiple times due to its goofiness. That's interesting. You're probably getting the 17 now and will probably get the all years later. Douglas Brown says, I think I got that letter 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's taking a really long time for ours to arrive and I have no idea. Anyway, General Motors says we were working as quickly as possible to correct this condition. When parts are available, we will send you another letter asking you to take your vehicle to your Chevrolet dealer to have your vehicle serviced. You can also check the status of this recall at blah, blah, blah. And then it says, while we prepare to conduct this recall, you should take the following steps. You should, whether or not your vehicle received the recent recall remedy in GM safety recall, and it gives the number, return your vehicle to the 90% state of charge limitation using Hilltop Reserve mode for 2017 to 2018 model years or target charge level for 2019 model years mode. If you're unable to successfully make these changes or do not feel comfortable making these changes, visit your Chevrolet EV dealer to have these adjustments completed free of charge. Continue to park your vehicle outside immediately. Charge your vehicle more frequently and avoid depleting your battery below approximately 70 miles, 113 kilometers of remaining range where possible. Continue to park your vehicle outside immediately after charging and do not leave your vehicle charging indoors overnight. And then it says, if you have any questions and stuff. But this is an interesting kind of slightly different version. So this bit was sent out as well. It's a second page, and the first page is trying to do this in a way that doesn't show my address off. Let me fold it. So this page is nice, and this is printed really nicely. It's a really nicely printed letter, and it's properly signed by Regina A. Carto, Vice President of Global Product Safety and Systems at General Motors. But this second one is really badly printed. Enclosed is a communication regarding a recall on your Bolt EV. At Chevrolet, our mission is to keep you, our customer, at the center of everything we do. To that end, we're writing to you today to communicate the first steps on how we will make good on that promise. Because safety is our highest priority, and in an abundance of caution, we plan to replace the lithium-ion battery modules in your vehicle with new lithium-ion battery modules as parts become available. These new lithium-ion battery modules we will provide you with all new cells featuring GM's most advanced Bolt chemistry. That's interesting. Bolt chemistry, not Ultium. So some people were asking about that, and no, it is just Ultium. It's nothing else. And 8% new additional battery capacity, resulting in a vehicle range improvement. A new 8-year, 100,000 mile. That would be bad if it was 100 mile. 100,000 mile limited parts warranty for your lithium-ion battery upon completion of the battery module replacement. So it says some other things. Is there? GM don't make much of anything themselves, says Joe Blogs. Yeah, unfortunately. Because Carrington said General Motors should make their own batteries. Yeah, they probably should. They're going to soon. Now, yesterday or earlier this week, GM said, we have a problem. We don't have confidence that LG is going to make batteries that are basically free from defects, which scares me, right? If the company that's just sent you a message going, hey, we're going to replace your batteries free of charge. We're going to give you bigger batteries. They're going to have more range. It's going to be spiffing and wonderful. We're going to do it as soon as we can. And then publicly states, yeah, we don't actually have confidence that the battery packs that LG is going to give us are actually any good. I think at this point, everybody should copy and paste that and keep it on hand in case they decide at some point down the line that GM is taking the mick, and they can go, yeah, well, you actually said that you don't have confidence at this point that the cells are going to be any good. I'm trying to find the actual statement. Let me see if I can find the actual statement, because I don't want to misquote GM. But it was not a good kind of vibe. On Monday, I think General Motors said, let's see if I can find the quote. We will not resume repairs or restart production until we are confident LG is producing defect-free products for us. Which is like saying, I'm not convinced that you say you're not an alcoholic. Or whatever. Any update on your buyback progress, Cody? GM has ghosted me as of recently. Guess what? GM used to phone me every week for the last 3 weeks going, we will give you an update in 3 to 5 business days. The last time I heard from them was this time on Tuesday last week. So yeah, GM has been ghosting us too. I think GM is... Here's what I think is going to happen, and I'm doing this because I thought we could all use a cathartic. We could all use a cathartic expression of frustration as to where things are right now. And I've got the Bolt T-shirt on as well. Transportevolved.com. Follow the link to the store, and we can. I think if it works, if you go to store.transportevolved.com, I think it takes you to the right place. I think it's pretty cathartic that we have kind of a bit of a joke about this. Although in all seriousness, it's kind of scary. There was another Bolt this week that supposedly caught fire, or rather did catch fire, but I don't know the ins and outs of it, and I'm going to try and chase that up. That particular Bolt had some issues with its battery pack, even though it only had an indicated 30 miles, I think the owner said on it. So that's very different to what we previously had been told, which is, the battery fires are happening when the cars are near full, and that's why you don't charge it to 90%. But this one apparently occurred when the battery was near empty. So I don't know any more than that, and I don't want to kind of give you incorrect information. But Christopher Hull says, I haven't heard anything in 3 weeks. Lots of people I know are in the same boat. I don't think Winter has heard anything from his buyback request. And I have a couple of friends with Bolt EVs who are also doing buyback requests. And I don't think that they are going to hear anything either. If I'm completely honest with you, I think we are going to see a lot of Bolt EVs, a lot of MSRP swaps happen in the next couple of months as GM comes to the realization that, yeah, this is going to take a long time to fix. And we know that I think the Bolt production line is halted until sometime this month. to try and figure out what's going on. Now, I believe that GM will have to do something, whether it is a buyback of cars, whether it is temporarily loaning people cars. I think if this new fire, the one that happened over the weekend, guy had parked his car outside, as he said, 30 miles remaining range. He said the car caught fire overnight. And if that actually was caused by the battery and not someone randomly starting a fire, because we don't know yet, then I think GM will have to do something pretty drastic, and it will have to turn around and say, we're gonna recall all these cars. We're gonna put people in different vehicles. I've heard of horror stories in the last couple of weeks of Bolt EV owners being turned away from parking garages. There was a note the other day that someone had left on their Tesla from a concerned resident saying that you shouldn't overcharge your Tesla because it will catch fire. And I think that's directly caused by what's been going on with the Kona fires and obviously the Bolt fires. We did a video about this on Monday, so I don't want to rehash it too much. But at the same point, I think we need to be pretty honest with ourselves that this is going to take a long time to fix. So you should all be following GM's advice. If you are a Bolt EV owner, park outside, don't charge above 90%, don't drive it below 70 miles remaining range. And if you do a long distance road trip, try and live within those barriers. Now, for a long distance road trip, as I realized this week, it's not that hard to do a long distance road trip and still live within those barriers. Jim, we're talking about LG LG batteries in the chat. So Jimmy says all of the LG phones I've had, 3 of them all had problems. I think it's important to differentiate between the manufacturer of the batteries and LG Electronics. They are slightly different companies. I mean, I have an LG monitor right in front of me right now. Right, and as Rambo Chicken says, LG Electronics, which makes the phones, doesn't necessarily use LG battery cells since they are separate entities. Nicholas Fields, hello Nicholas, says we requested a loaner while we wait for the buyback request, and they told us they can only offer a loaner if we were waiting for the battery repairs. Loaner unavailable for a buyback request, which seems like a really dangerous position. I'm not a lawyer. I would love to get one of the lawyers in and do a collab on this, because I think maybe that's something we need to do in the next couple of weeks. But it does seem very strange that people are being asked to carry on driving their cars, and they can get a battery, they can get a loaner while they're waiting for the battery repairs, but not for a buyback. Because GM should either process the buyback request at that point, or it should go, no, you've got to wait for a loaner. And right now, we have 2 Chevrolet Bolt EVs on our driveway. They are our only functioning cars right now. Obviously, we have the Honda, the Project Honda, which we need to work on. But right now, it's the Bolts that are our two vehicles. Mike says, I love the LG TVs we have in our house. I like the LG ultra wide curved monitor that I have right in front of us. It's a great thing. Hello, says Brian. I think Brian, same Brian. Brian said something earlier on. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. So anyway, the Bolt situation at the moment, if you are road tripping in the Bolt, I did some kind of calculations recently because I was going to road trip from here just outside of Portland all the way to Colorado for an event in 2 weeks time, and I didn't want to fly because I don't like the idea of flying on a plane with lots of people during COVID. And so I was going to drive, and it was going to be a 3-day trip, and I kind of ummed and erred a bit about, do I take a Chevrolet Bolt EV on this long distance road trip? Is that going to be any good? And so I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to plan out the route in a better route planner. And a better route planner is really good because it lets you set up the kind of the arrival state of charge you want to have, the arrival at the charger minimum state of charge. They can be different. And you can also say what your departure state of charge is. So, you put 90% in for your leaving state of charge. And then you say, I want to arrive at every charger with at least 30% state of charge, which was about 70 miles remaining range. I want to only charge to 90% at the rapid chargers, and then I can hit the road again. And that's basically what I did. Tom says, my LG fridge broke today. It's a conspiracy. That would be terrible, Tom. Duncan, I agree. Haha. Just stopping by to say hi. Love your stuff. Keep it up. Woo, says Mark Sequence. I love it when people put emojis in the comments, and now I can share them. Carrington says, try out the Ford Mustang Mark E. Carrington, do you own a Ford Mustang Mark-E? I would love to know. They do use LG Chem battery cells, but as I hinted in another stream, we have a deposit down on a Mark-E. It's not a confirmed thing yet, but we decided, because of how long it's taking to fix this, and because of the crippling nature of the recall, i.e., while we can do a road trip, it's going to take us longer because we're going to have to stop more frequently to recharge. Then we are going to start looking at another vehicle. So my wife has put a deposit down on a Mark-E. We are not committed to buying it yet, and the dealership basically told us that they are in so much high demand. If we change our minds, we can just get our money back and move on. Tashi says, we are on a road trip right now, going on Route 66. Hey, with our Bolt, we are staying in the guidelines. And this is what I was saying earlier on, Tashi. So the trip we were making, the road trip we were making, we were looking to leave the house with 90% and using the Better Route Planner to progress to plan our route map. And while it put us at more rapid charging stops en route, and I was very conservative about the route planning, it probably was going to add another hour or another hour and a half to our day. I try not to charge up beyond 90% at a rapid charger because that's inconsiderate to other people. I try not to go below like 20% is normally my minimum, because I like to have a buffer, and I've been in situations before when there was a problem. Nikki, we could offer you a loaner while you wait. Joe, what do you mean? Tell me. I'd love to know. Get a Canyonero. Oh, they are so good. They are 8 miles long and 6 miles wide, full of American pride. Yeah. Bart Simpson, Simpson's reference there. Sadly, GM does not stand by their vehicles. Are used Bolt prices dropping to reflect the battery issue? No, they're not. Bolt EV prices are still, I've seen some recently, 22 grand, because the thing to remember is that most people are not worried about the battery recall, because most people don't push their Bolts to the absolute limit. The only reason why we are looking at a Mark-E as a kind of a stopgap measure, well, not a stopgap measure, as my wife's next car, is because her Bolt has 100,000 miles on it. And we are looking at kind of the next vehicle. And we were looking at replacements for our Bolts. We just didn't expect it to happen quite when it happened. So we are looking at the Bolt all-wheel drive. She wants the all-wheel drive, but also because we want the other stuff. Oh, Joe, EV rides, of course, down in Portland. We're good for now, Joe. Now I know which Joe you are. So Joe is one of the excellent guys down in EV rides in Portland that do battery upgrades for the original Nissan Leaf. So that is awesome. Emoji, you say, says Anonymous Freak. Protect trans kids. I get right behind that, and I do. That is cool. Saw a new model Bolt EV today. Must be a bummer for the owner to have that vehicle recalled so soon. So GM is not allowing it's put a stock sale out on all of the Bolts, and so Bolt EVs right now are not able to leave the dealer lot if they haven't already left the dealer lot. They cannot be picked up by their owners. And I've heard some horror stories about dealerships selling customers Bolt EVs that are on the lot and then saying, well, you can just come pick it up when the recall has been completed. I completed an MSRP swap literally the week before this new recall came out. I'd swapped for a 2021 Bolt SMH, says Carl. I feel your pain, Carl. And that was the other reason, why we've started to look at alternatives to the Bolts, because we were considering maybe eventually, in a year or so's time, maybe upgrading our Bolts. But now we're like, no, maybe not. No. So anyway, as Teshi said, you can still road trip. I was going to road trip to Colorado in 2 weeks' time. I had booked my hotels last week. I got all the hotels booked, which, by the way, paid for by you wonderful people on Patreon and Ko-fi and Bitcoin and the YouTubes with your YouTube donations. You help us go to events in a safe way. So we do a lot of road trips. We try and travel by road when possible, but without giving the game away, because both of these events are on embargo. I'm going to Colorado for an embargoed event that you won't be able to hear about until the end of this month. And then I'm going to another event the very next day in Tennessee. I think I can say Tennessee. And so for me to go from Colorado to Tennessee in a day in a car, I can't do that. So I'm going to be flown. So company A is flying me to Colorado and company B is flying me to Tennessee and then back to Portland. I don't want to get on a plane with lots of other people during COVID. We have some N95 masks on the way, as well as these masks, which will go over the top. So I'll have she's not straight. Hang on, I've got to straighten her out. My N95 mask underneath and then this over the top. So there you go. I love these masks. These are made by a friend of mine out east, and they're custom masks and they're awesome. So they were custom made with 2 characters that I have. I've got another one somewhere. My other mask is somewhere. They are really cute. But they're not double layer, so I have to double layer them up if I'm in a risky situation. But they are really cute. This character's name I'm not going to tell you because this character is awesome. She glows. She glows in the dark, and she's a cabbit, which is like a cross between a cat and a rabbit. Anyway, enough of that. So here's the thing, says Desiv1. Here's the thing. If in say 4 to 6 months or so, LG announced they have safe batteries and start replacement, the long-term story will be GM stepped up. True. You are really true about that. But also, how long is it going to take? Because there's 140,000 cars that are affected by this. And so, again, I feel guilty saying this, but we are paying to kind of get out of this. I made it late, says Hybrid Nuclear Dragon, Kangaroo Dragon. What's going on? What's going on is I'm putting masks on made by the wonderful berry meat. This is a berry meat mask. So yeah, it's pretty nice. She's not straight. Yeah, we know. Planes have HEPA filters. They're safer than the grocery store. Planes have HEPA filters? Yes. But the person sitting next to me, I've been on a plane once during COVID, and the person who was near us was very inconsiderate. And I'm like, I would rather not be, I would rather not have someone who's being inconsiderate around. GM acted like they would buy our car back and now won't return calls or emails. Anyone else getting the runaround, says JC. Yeah, everybody's getting it because GM right now doesn't know what to do. GM publicly stated earlier this week that it doesn't know if it trusts the batteries that it's getting from LG right now. So I suspect that GM will have to redesign cell module chassis to suppress or extinguish a single cell thermal runaway event like Tesla does. Maybe. The difference is Tesla uses cylindrical cells and Chevy uses pouch cells. Most automakers are using pouch cells at the moment. And yes, I know Ford does use LG Energy supplied battery packs in the Mustang, though I've heard some rumors. Let's leave it at that. Your thoughts on the Tesla Model S Plaid? I would love to drive one and try one out. No one's offered me a chance yet. So if you have one, let me know. Seth says you might have to ice it to Colorado. I think Seth might be watching the stream a little bit later than everybody else because, Seth, I'm going to be flown. Unfortunately, while we try and drive whenever we can, this time we will be flying. I'm really excited. It's 2 exclusive premieres, one in Colorado and one in Tennessee. So I'm really excited about it. We haven't got a whole lot to do this year. We haven't had a chance to do a whole lot. This will be my first official launch that I've actually attended this year. Have I done? I've driven to events, like we've done exclusive one-offs before this year, and we drove down to Lucid and we drove down to Aptera, and we've done a couple other things. But this will be the first time that we've gone on a press junket this year where we've gone to actually see a vehicle. So 2 back-to-back, and then wouldn't you know it, we've got another one coming up at the end of the month. So I'm going to be out of the studio a lot, and that means that we're going to have lots of other fun stuff arranged from other people. So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be good. I'm afraid, says EV Tinker, I'm afraid GM is going to suddenly decide some of the existing batteries are fine and won't be replaced. I don't think that legally it can probably do that. The only way that you would absolutely know that the battery was okay or not would be to tear it apart and rip those modules apart and look at the individual cells, by which point you've contaminated the battery and it wouldn't be a big thing. Carrington says GM should bring back the EV1 but modernize it and base it on the Cruise or the Sonic. No, I'm not a fan of bringing cars back. I think that the EV1 holds a really special place in people's hearts. It's a very special vehicle. No one would buy a 2-seat. No one. Very few people in today's modern world would want a 2-seat vehicle like the EV1. It would be considered way too small by a lot of buyers. It would be considered a niche market vehicle. Although, you know, the interior space inside the EV1 is very similar in some ways to the interior space that I experienced inside the Aptera prototype, the Aptera Alpha. And I'm really upset. I've had a really bad couple of days, very stressful. Had a bit of a medical scare at the beginning of the week. I managed to spill coffee on myself. I was at my desk, had a coffee in my hand, and the next thing I knew is my coffee's all over my lap. So I think I probably had a little blip, which my cardiologists are looking into. But I have this wonderful Aptera model, and one of the wheels got snapped off this week, and I have no idea how or why, and that makes me very sad. Brian says, Brian Walton. I nearly read that as Brian Wilson, and that made me think of the Bare Naked Ladies. Brian Walton says, this makes me awfully suspicious of my Chevy Volt hiding out in my garage right now. Don't be. The battery cells in the LG battery cells in the Volt are very different to the LG battery cells in the Bolt EV. They are different generations, different cells, different start of things. And a friend of mine has just pinged me about their Smart for 2. This is yay. They have a Smart for 2. They bought a Smart for 2. They don't have a driving license yet. And for those who don't know, Smart for 2 EDs have a tendency to run their batteries flat. And then once your battery is flat, you know, there you go. My 2020 Bolt is sitting in my garage at about 90% charge. Should I be worried? I would move that outside, buddy Jim. Or Fireman Oxynox. I would move that outside. Good point. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? The defects might show up if you x-ray the cells. There are other non-destructive tests too. You're quite right. You could x-ray them. You know, that would be fun. Maybe GM should move to more safe technology like LFP. Well, it would probably be safer. It might drop the range a bit. And we're actually going to be working on a thing soon in which we're going to be focusing on why it's super important that you have good good expectations for electric vehicles. BNL, not the Beach Boys, I am old. Well, BNL sung a song called Brian Wilson, which is obviously relating to. So we're both right. Find the wheel of the broken Aptera. It's here. It's right here. Look. That's the broken wheel, and I have to stick it back on, and I will have a go at doing that at some point, probably with some JB Weld or something. But there you go. I actually sent a tweet out to Aptera earlier going, I'm really sad. My Aptera model got broke. I have no idea how. It sits on my desk, and I kind of noodle with it when I'm thinking. I wonder if GM will continue the Bolts and pull a Tesla and say Volt EV2 or something. Maybe, but I don't know. I would love to throw my deposit in for a Volkswagen ID4, says Carrington. Yeah, I mean, you have the right to repair your model, Dan Turner says. That is brilliant. It's It's one of the reasons why I'm supporting Aptera. For those who don't know, I do have an Aptera reservation or deposit placing queue. I also have a deposit down for a Ford F-150 Lightning, and of course we have a confirmed reservation order deposit. We put a deposit down on the Mustang Mach-E. Big fan of the channel, says Skip to Infinity. Hope your health things clear up. Slather on the aloe vera. Alpha Wolf has a 2-seater utility truck. No, Alpha Wolf doesn't have a 2-seater utility truck. Alpha Wolf has a very nice clay model and 2 people who know how to make coffee. I'm being a little bit naughty about that, but you know, they don't have a functioning vehicle yet, unless somebody wants to tell me otherwise, unless they know. Couple of important things that we're going to be covering later in the week, but you heard it here first. The SEC is investigating Workhorse, which is the company that kind of split off to Lordstown. So Lordstown was kind of split off from Workhorse. So the founder of Lordstown used to be the founder of the CEO of Workhorse. He then left, set up Lordstown, but Workhorse and Lordstown had kind of a reciprocal agreement. It's a bit complicated. Anyway, Lordstown have already been under investigation, and I think are still under investigation by the SEC, but obviously also now it's Workhorse. So that's going to be interesting. I hope that people in forests and countryside will end up with an EV Jeep Gladiator or something. That would be odd but funny to see. I think off-road electric vehicles are just around the corner. I can't say any more than that. I'm excited about the F-150 Lightning. I've seen it off-road. I think it's going to be a great vehicle off-road. As some of you who watch the channel know, we are putting a deposit down on one for the business because we have to carry a lot of computer equipment. So, this is the smallest bit of equipment we have. You can even see it's got the logo on the back. Click. Oh, get it the right way up. See, this is one of our laptops, one of our company laptops, when someone needs to do some work on the road. And that's one of the smallest things. But when you talk about the cameras and the tripods and everything else we have, lots of stuff. The ID4 does not use LG Chem. At least it won't be. It will be using SKI. F-150 or Rivian. I need to drive both Super Spectral, and then I will tell you. I just make sure no one sent any super chats. I don't want to miss out the super chats. Isn't Rivian bringing their EVs in next year? Rivian is expected to start deliveries this year. So that will make a big difference, I think, to the off-road and thingy market. Steph says, buy some glue from a hobby shop. I already have plenty of glue. I have 3D printing filament on the floor somewhere. Not that that would help in this instance, but I have 3D there. I have 3D printer filament, and I need to do some stuff in printing stuff for the Honda Insight project. Are you excited about Tesla offering LFP in the US? I think it's great. I think it's great news. I think we are going to see more people doing that. Obviously, Tesla is looking to get partners to help it with some of its other cell production as well. So the more the merrier, right? Atlas has just sent me an email. It's raised $2.5 million so far. It's doing a funding round right now, and I cannot get my head around how much money it has managed to bring in a really short period of time. Like, that is just, it's mind-blowing to me. I'm really blown away at how quickly that company has managed to raise so much money in such a small period of time. Will Honda EV Ridgeline be a good idea? I'm curious. I wonder if they'll do that, and hopefully it won't be underpowered. I think a lot of cars are going to be electrified, and you will see electric versions. I don't hold out on Honda making much at the moment, and we go from there. Truspic, there is only one EV, the City L. Now that is someone who knows. Who knows? If you know, you know. And I assume you know that I am a City L owner as well, or used to be. I just wish for a newer subcompact hatchback, says a Snow Leopard, which we've released it here in the States. Something small, perky, and fun. What do I think about an EV Nissan Cube? Animals are asking me too many questions. Animals are asking me too many questions, and the animals know that if they ask me questions, I will answer. What do you think about an EV Nissan Cube? I think an EV Nissan Cube would be fun, and it already exists. In fact, I have a photo somewhere of a Nissan EV Cube. It was a prototype that Nissan made back in 2008. Let me go through my library and I'll find it. I saw it at the London Motor Show in 2008, and I'm looking through my photos, so please bear with me. Was it 2008? Might have been 2007. Might even have been 2007. Let's go back. Oh, maybe it was. No, that's not it. That's a church organ. That's definitely not it. I have a photo of my old City L, which I loved. This is my old City L. My old City L was the best. It really was. My old City L was a Targa Top City L, and I loved it. And apparently it's still on the road, which makes me very happy. It really does. Really, really does. Devsif1, thank you for a tip. For the trip, thank you. I will treat myself to a coffee at an airport somewhere. I will be very happy about that. But yeah, there was a prototype EV Cube. I will try and find a picture of it. I'm going back through my photo library. Basically, it predates the Nissan Leaf. It was an electric prototype. It was debuted at an event in London, and I'm so good. I have a photo of it right here just to prove to you that it exists. I've just got to drag this to my desktop, so just give me a second. Actually, I can probably do this slightly differently. Show. Oh, hang on. Get info. I'm going to add this to my thing here. Video file. Might not be a video file. It's just an image, really. That's what I need. Let's see. Is it going to show me? This is where I make sure that I'm not sharing something with you that, private and confidential. Give me 1 second. Here we go. I'm going to share this so you can see it, because you're not going to believe me. This was an electric cube. It was done at a special event in it was at a London Motor Show. There you go. That is an electric Nissan Cube prototype. There you go. That is it. It's the Nissan fridge should have done that in the old 70s green. That was made. So let me just check on the date code on that. That would have been 2000 and that was taken in 2008, July 2008, I think. Although I think it was before that. I think it was before that because there's a very young me sitting inside a Tesla Roadster as well, looking a little bit fancy as well. So maybe it was slightly different. But there you go. It was definitely a vehicle that I remember seeing, and yeah, the same year they had an Aston Martin electric car there. They had a weird prototype whose name I can't even remember. Does anybody remember the Lightning? They had the Lightning there. They had a Think City. They had the original Tesla Roadster. And when I say original Tesla Roadster, I'm talking about the one with the 2-speed gearbox. What else do we have in this? We have a Fiat electric vehicle from the Nice Car Company. This would have been the London Motor Show. And also there was a Toyota electric concept car that year as well. So it was very interesting. Apparently people are seeing each other out and about and saying hi, and then I realized that people know each other. So somebody saw an Archimoto, and then somebody else went, yes, it was me. Any thoughts on the Ford Maverick? It needs to be an EV. What's more to say? I mean, that's pretty much it. Haven't got a long extension cord, no. My opinions on the Santa Fe PHEV and Kia Sorento PHEV. PHEVs are great transitional vehicles. I've not driven either of those yet. They've just literally been announced. Basically the same vehicle, different badges. They're the same vehicle underneath, is what I'm saying. Same drivetrain. All electric Rangers are better than they used to be, but there's only really one plug-in hybrid that I've driven recently that really impressed me, and unfortunately it was the Toyota RAV4 Prime. There's a review coming on that. I really liked it. It felt like a really solid, well-built vehicle for the price range and for what it offered, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. The Lightning GT EV, says Mark. I remember it well. There you go. So Mark remembers it. Devon says Rivian launch in Colorado. I can't possibly tell you because I'm on NDAs right now about the 2 events that I'm going to. Say no more. Would you ever want to ride an electric bus? I have. I used to have an electric bus on my driveway. Next question. Anyway, I should probably finish because I said I was going to do this very short and it's 40 minutes. But, all jokes aside, I was a bit facetious about the safety recall. But the whole point is, those events that I'm going to. I can't tell you about it, Anonymous Freak. The confirmation denial, love those. I can't possibly say where I'm going and what I'm doing. And I can't tell you where I'm going at the end of the month, other than to tell you that I'm going somewhere at the end of the month in a different part of the United States. If I told you where I was going, you would be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But again, I'm not going to tell you, because if I tell you, then you'll be able to figure it out, and then that would be me breaking the embargo. Did I miss the mail news for your Bolt? My Bolt got news. It got a recall through the mail, and I was just kind of joking about the fact that it took a long time for GM to get it out. We've all known about it for a really long time, and I personally do not think the Bolt EV is going to be fixed this year. I don't think we're going to see any battery modules replaced this year. I will be very surprised if we have our cars replaced, batteries replaced before the end of the year. And I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly worried that they're still not going to be fixed by the time my wife's new car arrives, which then means we can't trade it in, because you can't trade in a car that hasn't had the recall done. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. You could tell us, says Marty the Martian, although that looks unfortunately like Gurr, who sings the Doom song. That is not Marty the Martian. That is in fact Gurr. So yeah, help Kia EV6 or Volkswagen ID4. John Wayne. John Wayne's calling me from the grave. I don't think John Wayne would want to talk to me. He didn't like people like me. John Wynn says, help Kia EV6 or Volkswagen ID4. I don't think that's a fair comparison. I would put the EV6 against the ID4 all-wheel drive, which I haven't driven yet, but I would say that would be a big thing. School bus, microbus, tour bus. I've been on an electric school bus. I've been on an electric park and ride bus, and I've been on an electric regular big, drive around the city and pick up passengers bus. So there we go. EV6, says EV Phil. Yeah, I think I probably would go towards the EV6. They're very different vehicles. The ID4 is a competent family vehicle for family people who want to have a very boring vehicle. Or the Austin A35 van. No, nobody's buying an Austin A35 van. That would be ridiculous. So there we go. I think Gurr is my master, says Marty the Martian. That would be very, very disturbing if Gurr was indeed your master, because Gurr does not know anything, and therefore you would have a master who does not know. That would be very strange. Subaru Sun Earth, the Solterra. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I don't know enough about it. Zach, thank you. Team double bolt recall family pair of 20s, and unfortunately, we're going to try to MSRP swap since we went underwater to get both bolts with incentives. I am really sorry to hear that. Bear in mind that, if your car does get a battery replacement, then you have a better value on your car than if you didn't. But that's not good. I must admit that I thought about doing an MSRP swap to get out of the problem of having the bolt and go for like a gas vehicle just to park on my driveway and not use, because we've got to go down to CES in Vegas in January, and we've some big questions about whose vehicle are we going to take, because if we take my car, then we're going to have to stop frequently to charge, which is not necessarily a problem, but it's already not the best time of year for a long distance trip. We could take Winter's husband's Tesla, which is, wouldn't necessarily be ideal. We could maybe take Kate Walton Elliott's car, which is probably going to be the more likely one. Zach says probably going to trade in for a Camaro to trade in against an LFP Model 3. Now, that would be an interesting switch, Thumb up, people, says IRRI. Number 76. Thumb up, people. All right, guys. I'm going to finish now in a minute. I'm so in love with the Helianthropy says, I'm so in love with the Aptera look, but I just can't justify having two cars. Let's finish with that, because I'm not going to put Mike's comment up, but Mike, that comment was very funny, and it would be very unprofessional for me to put it up, but it was very funny. I am going to probably end up with 3 cars, because my Aptera, if it happens, would be my fun car. The pickup would be my work truck. And the Mustang would be my wife's. So that would be good. Thoughts on all Tesla FUD news? I don't even know who they are. Motor Trend just published a review of the Rivian R1T and the Lucid Air, and they both loved it. They all both vehicles. They liked both vehicles. So, hi, Nikki. I am Vietnamese, and I really enjoy your genuine content. Thank you. The first car brand from Vietnam is going to export 2 new BEVs called the VinFast E35 and E36. I'd love to see more about that. Send it our way. Send us some information if you have it. We want to try and cover more news from other parts of the world. So we'd love to know more. Send us more info. Do you think Lucid will deliver this year? Yes. That's all I'm going to say right now. Stop asking me questions and putting me in the corner. That would be bad. Okay, please. I will. Please wait 1 minute. Okay, I'll wait for HDN for 1 minute. But send it to show@transportevolve.com. That's another way of doing it as well. you keep saying you're going to cut the stream off and then you keep talking. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's a bit like when you say, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. The chickens do need their own car. From Puerto Rico with love. I would love to come to Puerto Rico. That would be fun. I really am envious of the guys who did the long way up. I know Claudio von Planta, the camera guy who went with Ewan and Charlie. And I actually, when I finished watching it, because I got it early on review, I actually sent him a message and was like, that was epic. It looks like he had such a fun time, and he did. He said they had a really good time. So that was really good. Anyway, I am going to go now. I have a 2017 Bolt and I had to trade it in. It was sad to give it away. Yeah. That's basically what I think most people are going to do. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for watching. Hello from Sydney, Australia. Don't come here. Locksmith sucks. Thanks to those amazing people who are scrolling by there on the right of the screen. You guys totally rock it, and without you we just wouldn't be able to do what we do. It is so wonderful to have so many people just supporting the channel and making the world a better place, and it's really wonderful. Today was Patreon payday for us. We get paid on the first of the month, so thanks to everybody who did that. Thanks also to our $15 to $49 a month patrons and our $50 a month patrons. They are David Janikula, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahoa, Brophy Wolf, Tesla in the Gong, Paul Conway, Sean Ueda, Gordon C, Regine Fellows, Anonymous Freak in the chat room, Jim Burness, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Laura Sandborn, Rory Litwin, Laura might be in the chat room too, and Denny Hyde, and our deepest thanks to our $100 a month Patreon supporters. They are John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, Ellery Hennesley, and Ian. Everybody say it. And Ian, if you'd like to join the ranks of our wonderful supporters, there are links below to Patreon, Ko-fi, and Bitcoin. And don't forget that you can go to the swag store and Redbubble, and you can buy your own TE swag stuff there. Some of you did say, and Ian, and it's really great because Ian is in the Discord server, and he is on the Discord server as and Ian. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for having a little stream with me. This is just what I needed. If you do have a bolt, make sure you follow the advice, and we'll keep you up to date as to what's happening next. Keep evolving.